Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy HenDawgz, and we back to it. You know how we do it. They were on their way to the Hall of Fame, but then sounds kind of sad, man. Like, all these people had the Hall of Fame talent, but I don't know if it was injuries, circumstances, just I don't know what could have happened that caused them not to go to the Hall of Fame. But we gonna see in this video. But before we do, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. We're on the way to 10K. Go ahead and like this video. If you like this video, go ahead and write something in the comments. Let me know how y'all feel about these players. I'm sure there's gonna be some underrated type players in here. Like, I always say, like, and not just basketball, but in life, a lot of stuff has a lot to do with your situation. And you can have all the talent in the world, but get caught up in the wrong situation, and you won't be able to maximize your talent. And that might be happening in this one. I'm sure it's gonna probably be like Derrick Rose, Penny Hardaway, which are injury type players. Grant Hill, another injury type player. But I'm trying to think of some players that were on their way to the Hall of Fame, but OJ Mayo or somebody like that. Like, OJ Mayo came into the league and was supposed to be that guy. But, you know, it's like I said, situations and just not being disciplined enough, and just like all these different things. Reggie Lewis and Len Bias, like, it's a lot of stuff that happens, that unfortunate events that happen, but it's life. So let's get into this video. I want to see who they got in here. They were on their way to the Hall of Fame, but then let's get it.
There's been so many stars throughout NBA history who started off their career strong, and they truly looked like they were on their way to the Hall of Fame. But then
D-Rose still might go to the Hall of Fame.
Gets ruined by injury.
I still think D-Rose should go to the Hall of Fame, though. If he doesn't, I think he'll probably be the first ever MVP to not go to the Hall of Fame. But me, you gotta put D-Rose in there still, man.
These dudes, when they were young, they were some of the greatest superstars the NBA has ever seen. And in terms of their numbers, their fame and success, they should have been in the Hall of Fame if their careers did not fall off so quickly because of injuries.
Let's talk
about some of these guys today. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and without further ado, let's begin.
What up, Andy?
Penny Hardaway. There's no other guy in the 1990s who generated so much hype coming into the NBA. Right from the get-go, Penny Hardaway was destined to be the next great superstar. He had everything: the handles, the flashy crossovers, the explosive first step, and the swag. In the first 4 seasons of his career, he made 3 All-Star teams and 3 All-NBA teams, including 2 All-NBA first teams.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. All-NBA is not easy. What is it? 15 players? I think it's what, 5 on first team, 5 on second team, and 5 on third team? So 15 players in the entire NBA. And he made that list 3 times in his first 4 seasons. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Shout out to Penny. So yeah, y'all let me know. Give me some background on Penny. I think I need to react to some stuff a little bit more. But yeah, let me know who like in today's game would y'all say that Penny kind of relates to, because I don't really know. What he's like, 6'7", 6'8" point guard, athletic, can shoot, can handle the ball. I don't think there's nobody like that. But if y'all had to, name one person in the league today, who would y'all say that Penny kind of reminds you of?
MJ was in the midst of his first retirement. Penny was the guy the world turned to. He was expected to take over and lead the NBA in the post-MJ era. But then, in his 5th season, he suffered a debilitating knee injury that required a major surgery. He was never the same after that.
His 5th season?
I'm surprised he hasn't been nominated to the Hall of Fame yet, just for the sheer cultural impact he had in the 1990s. I mean, Ralph Sampson made the Hall of Fame with an even worse NBA resume, and he fell off after his 5th season as well. But I guess he had more college accolades, so that probably pushed him ahead of Penny.
It's the basketball Hall of Fame,
injury,
not NBA.
Penny still tried to come back and sustained a career that lasted well over 13 years. Had he continued his dominant play just a few years more, he could have definitely made it. But alas, it didn't happen. Gilbert Arenas.
Agent
A story
Zero?
that's been well known over the years.
Hibachi?
While the gun incident might have derailed whatever was left of his career, the real culprit of Arenas' downfall was an injury sustained at the end of the 2007 season. Gerald Wallace crashed right into his knee and after multiple surgeries, just never recovered successfully. However, early on, Arenas was quickly building his resume and making his mark on the NBA. By the age of 25, he was already a 3-time All-Star and 3-time All-NBA. Statistically, he was top 3 in the league in offensive win shares for a few years. That's how good he was.
Gilbert is one of those people that I love. There's not too many basketball players that I really like to listen to, as far as podcasting or interviews or anything like that, and he's one of them. I always listen to Gilbert Arenas because I like the way he talk, I like the way he carry himself, and the things he talk about I really enjoy. And also, as far as actually playing, he's one of the only people who I can say, did Kobe bad. And y'all know how big of a Kobe guy I am. I always got to throw that out there and give Gilbert Arenas his credit because it was wild. So shout out to Gilbert Arenas, man. And is he a Hall of Famer? I think he should be a Hall of Famer. But let me know what y'all think.
However, those accolades would stop right there. You remember those battles against the Cavs in the playoffs, right? A young Gilbert Arenas was going head-to-head with a young LeBron James.
He was a hooper.
The two of them, at one point, looked to be the future of the Eastern Conference.
He missed that free throw, though.
One of them. We've never seen a player, a 30-point-per-game scorer, crash and burn so quickly like that. The Wizards of that time were an explosive offensive team. On any given night, they gave even the best defenses a lot to handle. It's a shame we never saw Arenas truly in his prime. He was so young when he got hurt.
He made a lot of money, though.
Speaking of getting hurt at such a young age, I feel weird putting current players on this list, but I think it's fine for those nearing the end of their careers. We all know Derrick Rose likely won't ever accumulate any more accolades, at least the important ones. Maybe he can add a title before he retires, but that depends on what role he played, and I don't think that pushes him into the Hall of Fame automatically. In fact, I was actually thinking about Rose when I decided to make this video. He's the perfect fit for this topic. He was so good early on, the youngest MVP in NBA history.
Youngest MVP
but
ever.
After that torn ACL heard around the world, he fell off just as quickly as he got there. It wasn't just that torn ACL injury that ended his career. Years afterwards, he sustained even more knee problems, which made it difficult for him to come back fully healthy. Rose had his best season at age 22, so we'll never know what he'd be like had he remained healthy until his actual prime years.
That's so tough.
Blake Griffin.
Blake?
Also a current player.
Shout out to Blake Griffin. He's a producer on White Men Can't Jump Too. Had the opportunity to meet him, talk to him. Super cool guy. Do I feel like he's a Hall of Famer? Yeah, maybe my Hall of Fame radar is maybe a little too easy, but I feel like these are all Hall of Famers. Like, these people did a lot for the NBA. Like, that whole Lob City era, like, we probably would never see something like that again. So we gotta give these people their credit, give them their flowers, man. Maybe I'm, like I said, maybe I'm just a little too easy on my Hall of Fame badges, but these are Hall of Fame players to me.
But while Griffin was great for a long time, he doesn't have any moments in his career that really stand out. Well, besides some of his ridiculous dunks, I guess.
Like a 20 and 10 guy for his career.
In the playoffs. Griffin had such a strong start to his career, but his injuries were very untimely. There was no one major injury, just a lot of smaller, nagging ones that really hampered his career. It also coincided with many playoff runs, so he could not play.
All that jumping.
He missed a lot of playoff games because of that. Some would say a resume of 6 All-Star appearances and 5-time All-NBA? That's enough for the Hall of Fame. I mean, we've seen players with fewer accolades get in. However, the criteria kinda changes depending on who we're talking about and the legacy they left on the game. Griffin had more All-Star appearances than Reggie Miller, but we all know Reggie had a way bigger impact on the NBA than Griffin did. Plus, with all his iconic playoff performances, there's no way Reggie would not get into the Hall, even if his accolades were kinda weak. Perhaps he could get in on a year where there aren't too many great candidates. Deron Williams.
Ooh.
Remember all those debates back in the day? Deron Williams or Chris Paul?
I remember.
Who's better? In their first few matchups, Deron actually outplayed Paul, even though Paul was having better seasons. Over time, though, as Paul continued his excellent play and rose above the ranks, Deron's career stagnated. This started happening by the young age of 28, basically right after he left the Utah Jazz. Deron had a recurring ankle problem that would not go away. It would linger until the end of his career when he was no longer relevant. I still vividly remember the excitement in New Jersey when Deron Williams first got there. The Nets got their best point guard since Jason Kidd, and he was supposed to turn around the franchise. And, well, the Nets did do better, at least. As they added more stars, they started making the playoffs again. But considering how much they spent and how much effort it took to build those teams, they clearly did not reach their expectations.
And a lot of these are about injuries, don't get me wrong, but I'm not saying this is the case for everyone, because it's not. But people get injured every day. There's people always getting injured, but it's all about the rehab and then the motivation to get better after you get hurt. So you can blame it on the injury all you want. But like I said, there's people getting injured every single day in the league. But people are still have that self-motivation to, I'm going to come back better. I'm going to come back stronger. But a lot of people lose motivation. Like, people don't want to go to rehab every single day and have to get in before practice and stay after practice to rehab. And so you lose motivation. You lose the love for the game once you get injured. So you can blame it on that. But it's still got a lot to do with, your love for the game and how much you're willing to, bounce back and get better. It's not like that for everyone, but I'm sure that happened to a lot of people.
Their failures lie heavily on Deron, who looked like a shell of his former self. Part of it is probably his personality, the other part are his ankle issues. Those ankle problems sapped his quickness so much that he turned into almost strictly a jump shooter. It didn't help that Williams got accused of being a locker room cancer. He was blamed for getting coach Jerry Sloan fired, and he did not have a good relationship with Jason Kidd either.
Damn.
That reputation he developed, that's also why he's not in the Hall. Brandon Roy.
Damn, I forgot about that. That's an injury.
Roy was a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, but when he was diagnosed with a degenerative knee condition in late 2010, it was over with a snap of a finger. Well, not exactly over. He did come back for a brief appearance in the 2011 playoffs. In one of the most spectacular performances ever, he led the Blazers to a massive comeback in the fourth quarter to tie the series at 2 games apiece. That was his last great moment in the NBA, and despite numerous attempts at making a comeback, he was fighting against a knee condition that forced every athlete before him to retire. Roy's perseverance was something the entire world should be proud of. Players like Ron Artest used to say that Brandon Roy was the hardest player for him to defend.
Shout out to Meta.
His nickname, The Natural, was well-deserved, as his playstyle seemed so smooth and graceful, and every time he scored, it seemed so effortlessly. Had he stayed healthy, oh boy, the Western Conference would have looked a lot different. Brad Daugherty.
Oh. Where Grant
Daugherty
Hill
was
at?
a former number 1 pick back in 1986. However, when he came into the NBA, he was overshadowed immediately, in an era of giants with guys like Bird, Magic, MJ grabbing most of the marquee headlines. Daugherty was always a fantastic player, but his game was kinda low-key, and he didn't have the flair or pizzazz of most superstars. However, he was still a 5-time All-Star by the age of 27, and was the leader of a Cavs team that recorded multiple 50-plus win seasons, and reached the conference finals as well. Like most teams in the East, the Cavs' best years overlapped with the Bulls, from 1988 to 1994. They lost to the Bulls 5 times in 7 years.
Damn.
Even in 1989, when the Cavs were the heavy favorites and the 3rd seed of the conference, Jordan pulled that game winner out of nowhere and knocked them out.
Oh.
But Daugherty's Cavs were still a very formidable team. His back problems, though, that's what killed it. Daugherty suffered numerous back issues by the mid-1990s, and he was forced to retire by age 28. Amari Stoudemire. As of this video, Amari has been eligible for the Hall of Fame for a few years now, but there wasn't much consideration.
He's not a Hall of Famer?
Out of everyone on this list, he's tied with Blake Griffin for the most number of All-Star and All-NBA selections, with 6 and 5 respectively. In terms of who had the higher peak, I'd say Amari all the way. People have said that in Phoenix, he was a product of Steve Nash and D'Antoni's system. But
who y'all taking? Both in their primes, both at their very best. Blake Griffin or Amari Stoudemire? I don't think that's that easy because just how athletic and how, you know, just how dominant Blake Griffin was. But I'm going with Amari, man. Amari had the whole package. Amari was super nice. But let me know who y'all taking.
But that's not giving him enough credit. He had a
Off the
ridiculous
glass.
run. Some
I remember
crazy
that.
playoff performances against the best defensive teams in the league. Now, Amari's defense himself, it kinda sucked. But the dude was a powerhouse offensively.
Oh my God.
In the 2005 series against the Spurs, a series the Suns lost in 5 games, a 22-year-old Amari went off, averaging an absurd 37 points a game on 55% shooting.
Sheesh.
He was the leading scorer among both teams in all 5 games they played. Keep in mind, this was against the Spurs in 2005, who had the league's #1 defensive rating. Even after coming back from a torn ACL, Amari continued to dominate. In New York, for a few months in late 2010, he was a legit MVP candidate, and still finished the season strong. That crushed the doubters that he was just the product of a system. He wasn't. He was a true star.
I rock with Amari.
Over time, though, the stress on his knees continued to get worse. And coupled with some other stupid injuries, Amari could not regain his all-star form. By his early 30s, he regressed into a role player, and that was that. Honestly, I still think he has a shot at making the Hall of Fame.
Me too, definitely.
People put him in the same category as guys like LaMarcus Aldridge or Joe Johnson, guys who've been perennial all-stars but just a sliver below Hall of Fame caliber. But I do believe Amari had a much higher peak than those guys. That gives him a shot. I mean, if Chris Webber can get in, then so can Amari.
Ooh,
Anyway, that's all, folks.
That's a good one right there. Who y'all taking, Chris Webber or Amari Stoudemire?
Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree or disagree that these guys won't ever make the Hall of Fame? What are your thoughts on it? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. And of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.
I definitely enjoyed that video. A lot of them, like I said, was about injuries, but a lot more goes into it than just injuries. But I hope y'all enjoyed that video. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if y'all haven't already. If y'all just went through that whole video with me, y'all, that should tell y'all right there that this was a good video, and y'all should subscribe because it's gonna be a lot more good videos just like this. Go ahead and like it if y'all liked it. Go ahead and write something in the comments. Let me know how y'all feel about these players because these were great players. These weren't just any type of players right here. These were very good players. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people's favorite players. Give me y'all input on these players and how y'all felt about them. And I'll see y'all next time. Well, I won't see y'all, but y'all see me and I'll see y'all comments. But y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean, man. We out.